fave.
Your fave?
Absolutely. It's the favorite cartridge I've ever had in my life.
It's very Floridian. It's very Floridian. Because, like, the thing about sunburned cannabis, they have to grow it here. Because it's, it's federally still illegal. But, like, this is what I love about the cannabis industry, specifically out here. It's like not only do they not give a flying fuck, they're like, we're going to make the best fucking weed that we can make. And boy, do they fucking make the best weed that I've had out here in South Florida. I've tried other dispensaries. They all suck. They all suck. Garbage weed. Fucking garbage weed.
I'm about to bust a lung.
Oh?
Excuse us while we get stoned.
Stoned to the bone right before work. In my case.
That's good, though. I mean, there's certain types of jobs, like a certain line of work where, like, you should be high.
I never really thought about it like that, Carissa.
Yeah, when I worked the front desk at the salon, it was mandatory to be stoned.
Mandatory. Like required. It was like part of like your job description. It's like
it was one of my mandatory descriptions.
I mean, it should have been like, the official mandatory. Imagine like you working in place like you have to be high your whole 8-hour shift.
It was
this is a rule of the business.
The clientele is why.
Just a bunch of bitches. Oh my god, this tan was like 2 shades too dark. I asked for number 4. Okay? Man.
Number 4's the darkest, bitch.
I know.
You asked for the dark one and now you're mad that it's dark? Yeah.
It's like, here's a joint. Just smoke some fucking weed. You'll feel better. Get the Karen out of you.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of priests in there, with a bunch of weed. They go active, sutum, cross them, like they're doing the whole crucifixion and all that fucking shit, with the weed, and yeah.
I saw a priest at the airport. They just stick out like a sore thumb.
I've seen a Hare Krishna at the airport.
I like Hare Krishnas
in LA.
Oh,
the last time I was there, I saw one over there. It was really weird.
Totally alone, or were there like a couple people dressed like that?
There were just a group of them.
Yeah,
they were giving out flowers.
The Hare Krishnas, whenever I bring up who they are, people don't. I'm surprised that more people don't recognize that name. Like,
It's not common anymore.
Yeah, I thought everybody knew what a Hare Krishna is. I hope that I'm saying it right. That's just how I was taught to say it.
I think it's Hare. I'm gonna double check.
Huddy,
or Huddy.
You just try to drop the sound of it.
Well, they're just to clarify, they're a cult group.
Yeah,
a turn cult group.
Known that it's a cult. Like it's not offensive to say. I mean, it might be offensive, to them, but I'm saying it's not a secret. It's like it's out
so
in
it's
the
heady.
open.
So it's Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. So if you don't know what a Hare Krishna is, I guess I don't 100% know, but I've seen Hare Krishnas in person, like doing like they were walking in a circle, kind of like doing some type of display and kind of, like dancing and singing and kind of all moving in unison together when I was in Washington, D.C., and being a young little girl from a Midwest town, seeing something like that is very eye-opening and very attention-grabbing as a young person. I've never seen people dress like that. I've never seen people act like that at all. It was just very, very different to know that that type of life is available. I mean, you could go, I believe either one of us could go be a Hare Krishna at this moment. If we wanted to say
I've been a part of one cult, and that's
but
enough
I'm just
for
saying,
me.
like, they're very, from what I understand, they're welcoming. Like, so as a kid, it was just surprising to be like, wow, there's a lot of different things you can do on Earth with your choices.
Yeah, your choices. We think we have choices, but this kind of remind
Hey, that's a
it's
choice within a world of no choices. Yeah.
no, this kind of reminds me of specifically with punk and heavy metal groups, because if you ever get to experience being with a heavy metal group, and you go to a concert, you'll meet some of the coolest, sweetest, nicest people you'll ever meet in your entire life. And the same thing is with punk. You know, like the thing about like, especially like when you go to a punk concert, like you can sometimes get very intimidated, but generally punkers are some of the coolest people you ever meet. And it's like once you get to know the culture a little bit, and you kind of get to understand like why are these people coming together, you know, like why they're hanging out at their favorite bar, or like why is this group like going out to this city and setting up in this park or this venue. And I always like, I always love experiences, but what I always love is those experiences that like make you think twice. You know, you're like, ah, I didn't think about that. In the case specifically with punkers and heavy metal heads.
Yeah, like observing a group of people who have like all these things in common. Like there's a group of people and they're all very like similar at that moment when they're in front of you. And it's, you can really observe that group. And that group is like clearly saying like, I am separate from other people.
Yeah, and it's also sad because you know you have that where they're labeled as like bad, you know?
Punks. Well,
Yeah.
because I mean, there's a lot of defiancy, and anarchy is like a huge part of it in general. So it is very like, damn the man, like power to the people, like, like fuck, like don't, what is the word? Assimilate, like, like don't like just be like everybody
Fuck
else.
the machine.
Yeah, I don't know if you're a South Park fan, but there was a word that they used on the South Park episode, where they had like all the scene kids. Do you remember the scene kids that had like the the comb over, and they would like move their hair, like they'd like always like flip their hair. It's a South Park episode, but they had a word that they used where it was like everybody just doing the same thing all the time. I can't remember exactly what that word was, but it was like that they used it over and over again, and they were referencing like scene kids, and how it's just everybody acting the same. But it's kind of ironic because the whole point of like being seen was to be different, but now everybody's acting that way. So it's like it's not a subculture at all. Like
No.
it's not unique in any way.
Nope.
Everybody's just following each other. So
Yep.
it is weird that you can have Honey Krishnas who are extremely unique, but then be in a giant group of everybody just like them. Because that's part of kind of what it is you you let go of everything that is individual about you. I think in that cult, I'm not really sure, I haven't read like the guidelines, but I know that you let go of all physical possessions.
Yeah. I the thing was like I don't know why the Hare Krishnas reminded me of metalheads and punkers, but it just was a thing that just came into my mind. It's just it's one of those situations where there are people that always have this like this feeling of rebellion, this feeling of getting away from the damn system, you know, and moving to a utopia, you know, a brighter horizon.
Yeah, fuck the man kind of attitude.
Yeah, I don't know how far it's going to get you, to be honest, but
Well,
yeah.
I'd always kind of played like a different role in my mind. Like instead of like fuck the man, I played like I'm aware, and but I kind of keep it to myself, and I play the game,
Hmm.
in a more quiet way than I am more outwardly fuck the man. I kind of, it's more with my actions slowly that I am like fuck the man than like, you know power to the people, like with my voice, like stomping in the street, breaking shit.
It's in a way where you're describing as being able to have agility, you know, being able to have that inner strength where, look, I say fuck the system, you know, and fuck the man. But, you know, I'm also one of those people of believer of you need a job, you know,
Yeah,
you need to pay your expenses, you know, you need to like, and look, just because there's corporate America doesn't mean every single business owner in this country are fucking shitheads.
I
Like,
think my biggest down, I there's this TV show that I watch, and
ooh, another TV show?
I
Yay.
don't really watch TV
I
shows,
know. That's why I said
but
that.
I was gonna try to. Is that funny? I was gonna try to explain this without referencing the TV show, but I
No,
think I'll
it's
just go
cool.
ahead and
Which
say
one?
it. Jack Reacher, which I think I told you about a tiny bit.
Yes, my mom was into this at one point.
So he is a vagabond. Like, he does not have things, and he doesn't have a home, and he doesn't have an apartment, he doesn't have a car, like, he has nothing. So
To the Alan Richson. Oh my god. He's so
fucking
fucking hot. Yes.
giant,
He's so
like,
fucking hot. He looks like a character from like the 1870s. You know, like a coal miner.
he's huge. And there's a lot of different things that I like about Jack Reacher. And I really, really like this version of Jack Reacher, this actor, the way that he portrays him. I didn't mind the other one, but I really like this one. Like, I feel like I can believe him like 100% what he says. I like his moral code. I feel like he's obsessed with doing what's right. And so I really get behind that. Like, it's kind of interesting to watch somebody, like, murder people, but like be like very obsessed with like what is morally correct in these type of situations. Even though I feel like there are things that he does that are just violent, like, and not really correct. But but what I was saying about Reacher is that he has no bank account. Well, he might have. I'm not sure how money works for him, but that's more or less. He doesn't have cards, like all that kind of shit. Like, no cell phone. And so, I mean, when we talk about, kind of saying like, damn the man, I guess the reason why I still follow the rules and work within the system is because, like, I can't be like Jack Reacher, because like I need to know where my bed and my bed sheets and my pillow
Mm,
are all the time,
yeah.
because I really need to have a safe little quiet place to sleep. And so that's why I work within the system, and I do what they tell me to do as far as having a job and paying bills. And
Yeah.
I try to pick one that I
Over the other.
can kind of enjoy. You try to pick a job for yourself that you shouldn't be there as much as you are, but you pick
Gonna have
one
to.
that's the
Yeah.
lesser evil.
Yeah. It it's where you kind of have to look at it for what it is. Socialism doesn't work. Fascism doesn't work. Communism doesn't work. And capitalism kind of works. It's really great. It really allows people to have their full individuality intact. But kind of the price that you pay for living is you have to pay for it. And it's not cheap.
No, it's really expensive. I mean, when you put it that way, it sounds kind of ridiculous. Like, yeah, well, duh, of course you'd have to pay for it,
But it's if you think about all of the systems that have been tried and true, okay, the number one that has come back that has benefited artists to a certain degree, the one that has benefited creative thinkers and makers and entrepreneurs is capitalism.
There's a little bit of socialism happening in different ways, but yeah, it's capitalism. I would say, yeah, it lets certain people be
Certain, yeah.
artistically creative. Yeah, I could kind of, I haven't studied that enough to really like say that much about it. It's been a long time since I
Well,
took
you
my
know what?
government courses.
We're not fucking journalists, or like some
Yeah,
kind of
don't
science.
quote me, like,
Yeah.
goddamn, like, not some type of scientist. I am a podcaster with an
We are
opinion.
podcasters, and we're just like I'm looking at that perspective of where I've come to like a point where you have to be willing to accept your surroundings, but at the same time being able to work within those limitations and knowing that right now it may not be perfect, but it will be better, if not tomorrow, in a year from now, or what have you.
Yeah, there's this like will inside of you to keep trying to make things better and hoping that it will build over time
This
into
pursuit.
where you want to be. It is true, like, it takes a whole bunch of tiny and small actions over a long course of time to change things. And it really takes like thinking about your life from an outside perspective to be able to do that. I would say the yeah, we're all kind of like prisoners of this economy, and I mean, we have it better than a lot of people in the world, but at the same time, like, obviously you need to work for your home and to have the things that you want, and you shouldn't be lazy, and like you should work or whatever. But the thing is that it's it's unfair. Like, it's not, you're not getting back what you're putting in. Like, you get back maybe, I don't even think 25% of what people are putting in. Like, I don't think that people are getting back what they're putting in as far as work, and I think that's why
That's
people are
true.
complaining. It's not that we don't wanna work, it's that it's not being given back, like, correctly. Like, and so the fight
Yeah.
is unfair, and that's why it is harder. It's not just working to support yourself, it's working to support yourself and not getting back what you deserve.
No, it's not. You know what? It's even crazier is when you look at the fact that not doing anything about the problem and just complaining and making up bullshit, and propaganda and oppression and what have you, it just creates utter chaos. Instead of just like allowing yourself to be like, hey, what's going on? How can we fix this? Because with all the difficulties that exist, you have control of yourself. And that's all you need, right? Like, in the end of the day, that's all you need is to have control of yourself. Do you feel that you can be strong in a situation? Do you feel that you can be confident when you need to be? Do you feel okay being vulnerable when you're in a relationship? Freedom's kind of nice, isn't it?
I well,
Uh oh.
exploring the freedoms that you have, I think it's like a false reality of freedom. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that, yeah, because we don't have really that much freedom. I mean, I still am grateful for the freedoms that I have, but because we don't, I think the ones that we do seem like a really big deal. Just to be able to like make decisions like that honestly shouldn't be viewed as such a big deal. Like, that should be pretty common.
It honestly should just be. It should just be straightforward,
Should
you
be.
know. Yeah, should be.
I know that every time I say should be or should, I always think to myself, like, there is no should.
There's only try.
Yeah, but I don't think there is a thing should be one way or not another. I don't know. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that should is always a opinion based thing for the most part, or a perspective based thing.
Mm-hmm.
Should. Yeah.
Well, it's also about like how are you how are you approaching this, because you should have done it this way, because what you're giving over is, well, you should have blah blah blah, or it shouldn't have been this difficult. That's one of my favorites, like this shouldn't be such a problem, like this shouldn't be difficult. But
Yeah.
who
I
are you to
wonder
decide? Right.
where does the word shouldn't come from? I mean, why did we just end up using it? I said it. I'm the one who said
Yeah,
the word shouldn't.
yeah, I just said it so to emphasize the word that you were saying and to be a jackass at the same time.
I can't remember what my example is now. I bet the listener's like, but I'm like, yeah, I'm stoned and I don't remember what I said 5 seconds ago.
It's
That's,
okay.
but I'm thinking, there's a certain thing that drives it. Like, but what it is it's considering one option or the other, like
By
you're
the it is
considering it.
considered grammatically correct in English,
Yeah, for sure.
but it's well, there's two probables here. Like example one would be he should have been careful, and then example number two is 348 million should be enough to buy him out.
Hmm. Should be. Yeah, should is like hard to define. What do they say is the definition of it? I mean, I just have a hard time like I'll try to
Used
describe
to
it
indicate what
myself.
is probable. Huh?
What is probable, huh?
Probable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most likely. But there's also like a part of should that is like what is correct to be done. Like this kind of like what is morally right kind of thing. Like there's a part of should that's like, you shouldn't talk to me that way. Like there's a judgment thing that comes in with the word should where it's like
Mm-hmm.
things are appropriate or not. Like, and I think that, I mean, that should be part of the description of should. Because it's what
Way
I'm
to go,
saying is like it's a
Carissa, for
very
another grammar
judgy
lesson. What?
it's a judgy word, I think. Like I
It
think it's
is.
kind of a harsh word in a way, like
It's
who are
direct.
you to say what should or shouldn't, but yeah, it can be very assertive in a good way, but the word should always I spark my it sparks my ears up, like I'm like what's up, sparks my interest. But I always wonder or reconsider what I said whenever I use the word should. I'm like, "Hey, wait a second, is that right?" Like
Mm, well,
I'll question my opinions.
see, questioning is another one that's very interesting, because when you when you question someone, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get information from them, okay? So that you can give over something to them in any shape or form. But it's the in a way kind of similar with the word should. It's where you're directing this to the person across from you or the various people across from you. But it's it's not, in a way, like you're not gaining anything for yourself. Like,
Yeah, it's like an outward demand instead
yeah.
of like a give me back demand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess you could be asking somebody to do something for you at the same time, but yeah, asking a question is like asking for something. Like you're hoping to receive, when you go that far.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I try to think like, are there any questions for David at this moment?
Oh my
How you been?
god.
How you been, man? How you been?
Well, I've been juggling around jobs, so that's been fun.
Yeah, trying to do the
Yay.
best you can to find the right place for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I took a different approach where I didn't sell myself short. So, kind of a busy week next week. And I'm just hoping to see where things go. You know, like I'm in a very interesting part in my life. Interesting, like not interesting at all, but it's interesting to me. And
I don't think it's uninteresting.
what do you mean?
I think your life is interesting. Yeah, I would think a lot of people would think your life is quite interesting. Have you seen that show, The Bear? Another
No,
show? Oh, there's a show about a
I don't
sous
watch
chef.
Netflix, honey. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
have Netflix, but I never use it. Hmm?
he won like a actors award or something for
Who?
it. The lead guy in that show, the sous chef show. But it's got a
Oh,
few
you mean the
different.
bear? Like
The
the
bear.
yeah,
I said
yeah,
that's
with
what I said.
Alan. What's his name? Is it Alan White?
I don't know his name, but I know who he is, but I didn't remember his name.
Hold on, I'm gonna find this. Give me a sec.
But yeah, I watched the SAG Actors Awards. They won a lot of awards. Um,
He has these puncturing blue eyes.
right.
Very
Yeah.
puncturing. His name is Jeremy Allen White.
They
That's right.
I never wanted to watch that show because it kind of reminds me of like my ex, but
Mm-hmm.
like
He kind of does.
after the yeah, right. After the I know, just because the first season he's just like, miserable, I think, and just like grumpy about life, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to watch that. But then the second season, like I watched the Academy Awards or Actor Awards or whatever for it, and there's this uh actor that, coacts with him, supporting actress or actor, and she does a really, really good job in the show and won like a best supporting actress for, that show. And it was really incredible. Like I watched some of the clips and she did a really good job. I don't know her name either, but the female actress in that show that they gave the award to, she's really cool. And it looked like, I don't know, I just really liked her character, like the way that she delivered her lines and stuff. She just seemed like a real person, like going through some shit. And I thought that was cool to watch her just like be real on camera. She's like had no makeup on, like a girl that like
Wow.
works,
Yeah.
like
Like
it was
she's got
nice to
like the
see
stretch
that.
marks on her boobs, because of
I
all of the
didn't
sagging.
I didn't see that. That's not the part I saw of it.
Well, listen, I mean, you were no filter on the last episode, so I thought I might chip in this time.
David wants to give me a hard time for acting no fucking different than I always have.
I mean,
I'm
no,
sorry,
you
man.
always act that way. I'm just like, it was just a little extra, just a touch.
I don't know that I really said much of anything, but I'll listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Oh, you betcha. What?
you betcha? Is
I was
that
trying
it?
to, I was trying to do some Midwest thing that you people do. So
You people.
I don't know what Iowinians.
I'm not an Iowanian.
You're Californian.
Still. Yeah. I get to claim
Yeah.
it for at least a couple years and then I'll let it go, maybe.
Okay. So your home state is California.
Well, kinda. Yeah, I've been there for the most part. Like, these people don't accept me as one of them. They're like, "Ha, you've lived there. You're one of them."
You're one of
Like,
them.
yeah, it is interesting. I
They
told you
pro-
I was what? They probably what?
I don't know. I was gonna think that they probably think you have a Joe Biden flag out on your lawn.
You wouldn't believe how much Trump shit there is everywhere.
Oh my
Like,
god.
I haven't seen anything like that. Like, because
So
I've been in
much.
California.
Is like I'm sure your
Yeah,
parents
it's everywhere. My
sure
parents don't have a Trump sign out, thank God.
really? Oh wow.
No, there's no Trump sign out there.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Maybe we shouldn't talk about it.
I don't know. We shouldn't. Anyway, I do have to run, honey.
David has to go to work.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I go to
No,
work
it's
tomorrow, but yeah, thank you so much for taking time to do this podcast with me. And
my pleasure.
also, thank you to the listeners for chiming in every week.
Yeah, for sure. And listening to us talk about I should and should. Wonderful
It's
words.
an insightful conversation. We talked
I
about
know.
Honey Krishnas and society and what it's
Cult.
like to work within the system. But it's just regular American groove talk, honestly. Like, and I hope
No
that it
bullshit.
gives people a little bit of like a release to relate with us about those thoughts and, you know, just kind of like explore someone else's frame of mind for a second is what I hope happens for our listeners. But again, I just thank everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, on that note, you know where you can find Carissa and American Groove Pod on Instagram. And if you want to check out more of the podcast, you can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Lost in the Groove Pod. So, we're going to get more stoned, and we'll catch y'all later. Bye.
Peace.
These motherfuckers.